$1,518 monthly benefit checks from Social Security if this happens. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now in this video, I want to discuss with you a piece of legislation that is currently in Congress right now, which would boost benefits up to $1,518 from Social Security for millions upon millions of beneficiaries, and what would need to happen in order for this to take place. Let's get into it and talk through all those details. However, really fast before we do, thanks so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe right down below the video. It's totally free to do so, and I'm here for you right by your side each and every day, watching the latest details hitting the wire, watching all the pieces of legislation, bills, packages, and proposals, anything that Congress is coming up with to reform Social Security and or boost benefits and to change the distribution of these payments. Of course, I'll bring that to you right away as well. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it and talk about what it would take to get these $1,518 ongoing monthly benefit checks from Social Security and the legislation that is currently in place floating around out there right now that we do know some lawmakers are also in support of. All right, so here's what it comes down to. Over the last couple years, we've seen multiple different proposals hitting the table to reform Social Security. In fact, over the last 6-8 months or so, we've seen multiple other proposals coming out, all these ideas that they've been coming up with to reform Social Security, to make sure that this program remains solvent for many more years to come, as well as boosting benefits and a whole variety of other changes, right? We've talked about all of those in separate videos. However, in this one, I want to talk about one little aspect of a lot of these pieces of legislation that are out there, that is in there, that would actually boost benefits up in a pretty substantial way for lower income beneficiaries, okay? All right, now again, we've seen things popping up as far as flattening out Social Security benefits, raising the minimum benefit up to 125% of the federal poverty line, which is exactly what I'm going to talk about here in this video. We've talked about lowering benefits for higher income beneficiaries and shuffling that money over to lower income beneficiaries. They've talked about canceling benefits before full retirement age. They've talked about adjusting the way that the annual cost of living adjustment is calculated. They've talked about a $200 per month boost. And again, the list goes on and on. Those are just a few. There's literally like 10, 15, 20 others that they've come up with and talked about as far as reforming Social Security and things like that. However, in this one, I want to talk about one small provision within a lot of these pieces of legislation that is out there where they want to boost the minimum benefit up to 125% of the federal poverty line for lower income beneficiaries, which would encompass millions upon millions of people. So I want to break down the details of that as well as talk about the actual numbers behind this, because this is actually pretty cool. Now, obviously, you've heard me say a couple times so far in this video, $1,518 is what it comes out to. So in order to arrive at that number, we need to understand what is the federal poverty line. Now again, I've made dedicated videos here on the channel talking about this, but let me break this down for you really quickly in case you did not see those other videos, which is the federal poverty line right now in the United States for an individual is $14,580 per year, this year in 2023, okay? Now, here's the thing. The federal poverty line continues to increase each and every year. To put it into perspective, last year, the federal poverty line for an individual was $13,590. So the federal poverty line increased by 7.28% this year, 2023, over last year, or $990 is how much it increased this year over last year, okay? So just to better understand that, we want to know what the federal poverty line is. Now, to take that down to a monthly basis, taking $14,580 on an annualized basis, dividing that out by 12 months, comes up to $1,215 a month, okay? Now, let's run the math on that to determine what is the monthly on a 125% increase of up to the above the federal poverty line. So here's what it comes out to. Taking that $14,580, again, divided out on a monthly basis, the $1,215 multiplied by 1.25 arrives at that $1,518 on a monthly basis is what they're coming up with as far as a 125% benefit of the federal poverty line. Now, again, that'd be pretty substantial for a lot of people. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier in this video, what it would take in order for this to happen, again, alluding to this has not happened yet, but again, I want to break down all the details so we can understand what is going on here and what it would really take for Congress to get this done. Well, here's what it would really take. Them to pass some legislation. Have they passed any legislation to reform Social Security yet? The answer is No, they've done nothing yet. There's a lot of proposals, there's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of different things floating around out there to reform Social Security and to change this program, to fix this program up, to boost benefits, a whole variety of things like I mentioned earlier in this video. However, we do know this much. Social Security will be changing, okay? We know that for a fact. What is going to change about it? We don't really know yet. Again, why? We need to continue watching all this closely. Now, again, down below in the comment section, I'll probably see some comments saying, why are you telling us this? It hasn't happened yet. You're right. Nothing has happened yet. Nothing. Literally nothing. However, we do know this, that Congress will be changing Social Security. We do know that there will be a piece of legislation coming in to reform this program. What is it going to be? What is it going to entail? Who is it going to encompass? And who is it going to benefit, or potentially who may it not benefit, right? Well, that's why we need to continue watching all of this, because I'm not sure about you, but your monthly benefit is probably pretty important, right? I think we can all probably agree. The monthly benefit that you receive every single month from Social Security is probably pretty important, okay? We've talked about the studies before where the vast majority of beneficiaries who receive checks from Social Security rely on their monthly benefit for 90+% of their monthly income or more, okay? Well, if that's the case, if this monthly check is your primary source of income, you probably want to watch it very closely, right? It's just like your paycheck at a job, right? Maybe you're currently working, or at some point in your life, you probably put years and years, probably decades of time in working. Did you watch your paycheck? I'm pretty sure you did, right? Every single week or every other week when you got your paycheck, you probably examined that thing line by line. Where's my money? Who took my money? Where'd all my money go, right? And then you wonder, how much do I get at the end of the day after everybody's came in and dipped their fingers into it and taken their little share, and then you get what's left, right? You know how that is, right? You watch your money very closely. Same thing goes with your monthly benefit. Anything that's out there with them toying around with these ideas of potentially changing Social Security, reforming Social Security, raising taxes, pushing out the full retirement age, all kinds of things like this, got to pay attention to it, because you never know what Congress is going to do, okay? That's why I've been emphasizing this so much in previous videos, and why we've been talking about all these other proposals coming out is because you don't know yet. We don't know what Congress is going to do quite yet. We just know one thing. They're going to do something, okay? Now, we also know a couple things. The likelihood of them pushing out the full retirement age is very high. The likelihood of them raising taxes is also very high. But at the same time, what else are they going to do? We do know that the Social Security Expansion Act, the one that is, that was introduced by Bernie Sanders and other Democratic senators, which, by the way, yes, I know Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. He's actually an independent, but either way, you know what I'm talking about. My point is, we do know that that one is getting some traction, is getting a lot of attention, and we do know that Bernie Sanders continues to pitch that idea, and again, we got to continue watching Bernie. So we know that in a lot of these pieces of legislation out there, they want to implement this 125% minimum benefit of the federal poverty line. In other words, you saw the numbers there. I gave you the calculations. I gave you the full breakdown, the federal poverty line on an annualized basis, the federal poverty line on a monthly basis, the federal poverty line on a monthly basis multiplied by the 1.25 brings us up to that $1,518 a month number. Again, any of this could fly, right? Any of it could happen. And at the same time, none of it could happen. That's why we're going to continue watching, okay? So, obviously, no promises. We have no clue what Congress is going to do yet, but we do know a couple things, which is they're going to do something, and they're talking a ton about it, and we do know that this 125% minimum benefit continues to pop up. Well, if it keeps popping up, it means that a lot of people are in support of it, right? So it just simply means that maybe Congress is looking at this suggesting, hey, we get it. Some people, are living well below the federal poverty line. Some people are really struggling right now. Some people should probably have a boosted benefit up a little bit higher. Well, yep, we know that. Yep, we do know that there are a lot of people that fall into that category. So anyway, I want to break down the details for you here and let you know what's going on with this and where we currently stand. And like I said, let me reiterate one more time, which is, well, nothing has passed yet. But there's a lot of pieces of legislation out there right now, and it's only a matter of time until Congress gets something done. What are they going to do? Well, like I've said before in other videos, let me say this really quickly. They're likely going to cherry pick. What I mean by that is all the pieces are out there on the table, right? They're going to look at all the pieces of legislation. They'll say, hey, I like this little nugget over here. I like this little piece over here. I like this one over here off of this bill. They're going to start grabbing little pieces and little provisions that they like out of each piece of legislation. They're going to bundle it all together, and they're going to try to push it all through as basically one kind of hybrid kind of deal, right? Does that kind of make sense? So it's not necessarily that any one of these pieces of legislation that are out there in its current state are going to pass, but rather they're likely going to cherry pick some of the best ideas, some of the best provisions out of these pieces of legislation, bundle them up together like tax increases, pushing out the full retirement age, hopefully some boosts to benefits as well, things like that. And that's what I mean by the whole cherry picking analogy. So this is what they're likely going to do. Anyway, want to point this out for you. I hope this makes sense and gives you a better perspective on what's going on and some real numbers behind all of this as far as what a benefit of 125% of the federal poverty line would mean for millions of beneficiaries. Anyway, hope this one helps you. Again, I know it's a confusing time right now, which is why I'm watching all the details, why I'm bringing you the latest updates each and every day in these short videos. So again, please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands upon thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, take care, leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below. And again, I'll catch you again later in the next video.